Everybody, welcome back. So today we're going to be taking a look at a couple of rifles of a friend of mine. He loaned me them for just being able to take a quick look at on this video. And these are two that you might have seen before. You might have seen them. You might have seen it in, I'll link to his video up here. You might have seen Mud Gunner take one of these apart, or actually disassemble it, field strip it. And then you might have also recently saw Clayco's video talking about his Daewoo. I believe he had a DR-200 in his video, but one of the more rare ones that we're going to talk about today is this K1A1. This is one of those, if I'm not mistaken, this is one of those pre-band rifles. These are really cool. One of the interesting aspects about these is, yes, they're chambered. The funny thing is, excuse me, this one's chambered in 5.56. This one says it's chambered in 223. I'm really not sure about the truthfulness of that in terms of whether this really is a 5.56. You guys are smart, you can go out and do your own research. But what's really cool is this one has a very cool collapsible stock, very HK-esque. Now, if you go out to, I can't remember if it was Mud Gunner or if it was Clayco's videos, you'll notice, I think it might have been Clayco, the Koreans made, they took a lot of different design aspects from multiple different weapons platforms and kind of melded them, or meshed them into this series of rifles. Now they're really cool in the fact of how they got it all to come together. I will admit they do look a little strange. They're obviously not your traditional AR-15, but cool thing is they take AR-15 mags. And it's a caliber that is quite cheap to shoot as opposed to 5.45 by 39. Now, that being said, what we're going to look at first is this K1A1. It's a very nice looking specimen. To the best of my knowledge, it's all original. So my buddy got these and he kind of stumbled upon them in a gun shop and basically said, hey, you know what? I gotta have that. But it's a really interesting looking rifle. They're very different. Now, this one in particular, I don't know how well you guys can see that. Hopefully it'll focus. Is imported by Stoeger. Now, the neat thing about this collapsible stock is you have I guess a standard position, but then you also have, you push the button here, you also have a really long position. So for those individuals that are larger, that need a really long length of pull, this also accommodates that, which I think is pretty cool. You have your standard magazine release, much like an AR-15. Pistol grip, much like it, albeit attached a little differently. Your entire lower really is much like an AR-15, more or less. But there is no, obviously no bayonet lug. But what's interesting is the takedown of this. Let me get this mag out of here. I'll throw that on the table. So you have this button back here at the top of the upper that you kind of push forward and then it'll rotate down. So the other neat thing is you've got another pin here, much like an AR-15 on your lower, except you'll pull this pin and then that separates your upper half from your lower half. Now if you guys take a look at this, you'll see there's a lot of similarities between an AR-15 and this, but there's also quite a few differences. So you can tell they obviously took some design aspects from the HK world, design aspects of the AR-15, and then additionally some design aspects of, I guess what I would say would probably be a GLIL and AK. Now to remove this bolt, you're going to move this into this position where you have the notch. Your recoil spring and buffer can just slide right on out. There that is. And you're going to take your cocking handle in that notch, you're just going to pull it out. And then your entire BCG is going to come right out. Now, you guys will notice, it's like, wait a minute, what's wrong with my BCG? Well, it's essentially kind of like half of an AR-15 BCG. It does have a very different cut right here. Clayco pointed that out in his video, but more or less it's like an AR-15. So it's not like it's, you know, some weird, how do I say it, some weird alien rifle or something, because there's so many things that are quite similar to other weapon systems. You know, there's not anything bad about that, by the way. It's just how it is. Now if I can get this line back up so I can get this back in here. Line that back up, bring her home. We're going to push that recoil spring back in there. We're going to repin this to our lower to reassemble it. Yes, YouTube, reassemble. That's what we're doing here. Of course, my pin doesn't want to go back in. I'm going to go ahead and push that hammer down just to make my life a little easier. And when you bring this down, you're going to push this pin in, and she just locks right into place. Very simple, much like an AR, but also reminiscent of a Galil and other weapons. It's just a really cool rifle. Now, like I said, this one was imported by Stoeger in New Jersey. Of course, this is a K1A1. If you guys are not familiar, you see the Daewoo Precision Industries here. But it's just a really cool rifle. Now, it is not an ambidextrous safety. You just have safe and you just have semi on the one side. But it is very easily operated by your thumb. Of course, you do have your sling swivel mounts here and here. So this one is the more expensive of the two. Now, I don't remember exactly what my buddy paid for these, but I know they were certainly not cheap. But, you know, if it scratches the Daewoo itch, so be it. Now, you guys will probably notice back earlier in the year that there was news that Daewoo's are going to start getting imported again. I don't know if that's ever going to materialize. I think it would be cool if it did, but I'm not going to hold my breath on it, much like a lot of other things that I hear about in the gun industry. Now, what you see more of are these DR-200s. These are much more common. Now, yes, you guys are going to notice right off the bat, this DR-200 is missing something. It's missing the sling swivel here. Now, I'm going to tell you guys right now, I helped him. I looked and looked and looked, and I tried to find one for my buddy, one that goes on here. And these things are almost unobtainium. Quite frankly, I couldn't find one. I hate that because he really wanted the sling swivel on it, but this is the way it came when he bought it. Now you will also notice, by the way, if you guys know where one is, hit me up in the comment section down below or send me an email via my channel email. I'm sure he would be greatly appreciated and would love to get that for this DR-200. Anyway, moving right along. So we've got the Stormworks rail mount up here. You will notice this one is set up with a red dot, very similar to how Clayco's is. And my buddy set this one up so that he would have the ability to co-witness through his red dot. He might actually take something like this to Clash Bash. I don't know. You also have the Stormworks conversion on the back end for this nice folding stock. And I'll shut up so you guys can see the rest of it. Now, for those of you that had a keen eye, if you caught it, check out the name on this one. Kimber. Now, is that the same Kimber? I'll let you guys do some research on that. But anyway, really beautiful rifle. Takes down essentially the same exact way of the other one. Now, the added benefit here is you do have this folding mechanism, which, if memory serves me correct, you really got to put some force on this thing to fold it. Well, I say that. There we go. Come on now. There we go. It doesn't want to unlock. It's a very, very positive engagement. But that's how it looks folded. So you can really make both of these nice and compact, much like, if I can get that to rest there, it's not going to rest. Alright, just stay wherever you want to. Very nice and compact, like some of the Galils that you see. As far as I know, only things that have been done to this one is the Stormworks rail up here and the Stormworks conversion for this folding stock on the back end. Of course, you see He's got a Vortex Crossfire on here, you know, which I think that is actually a really nice dot for it. I think it'll work out really well, to be quite honest. I have not shot these personally. I do believe he has shot them and he loves them. You know, just ones that he really likes in his collection. It just seems like oftentimes when you find anything like these, they're more rare. You might want to jump on them, because while the DR-200s are sort of commonplace, the K1A1s are definitely not. It's kind of like the Clayco AK-47s. You know, the very first Chinese imports, those are definitely not commonplace, and I dare say this will run you just as much as a Clayco AK-47. Ask me how I know. But anyway, but these are cool rifles. I mean, just something neat that was in that pre-ban era as well as kind of in the post-ban. Originally, you would have seen this DR-200 that it came into the country with a thumbhole stock. It was really ugly. And places like Stormworks did the conversions and sold the parts to convert them to where you could, you know, make use of a really cool looking folding stock, and, you know, it actually looked pretty presentable. And I think they did a really excellent job in with the products that they develop. Now, like I said, go and check out Mudgunner's video that I'll link to earlier in this video, and go check out Clayco's video. And by the way, I'm going to try to link to this one as well, one that Misha did. Go check out his videos. Always, he's awesome. I mean, he's got a wealth of knowledge when it comes to history of firearms. I greatly enjoy stuff he puts out. I don't give you the backstory and the history on all of it, just simply because there's people that are much better at it than I am. So take that for what it's worth. You know, this gives you an idea in terms of size. Just for comparison, and you're going to see this one in another video coming up pretty soon. Just for comparison, my buddy also loaned me an AMD 65. So if you want to see the size comparison, you know, here's an AMD 65. It's just, I don't know, maybe 3 inches longer total in length when you look at it. So it's really compact when you think about it with the collapsible stock. The folding stock one has a little bit longer barrel, but still you're talking about a relatively compact setup. So really cool stuff. It's always a pleasure to take a look at somebody else's collection, just to see, you know, what does everybody else like, you know, what's cool, you know, in their world. Because everybody's got their own opinions, their own likes, their own dislikes, and that's what makes everybody unique. So, like I said, if I can keep this from falling over, we're going to take a look at that AMD 65 in another video, another day. But today's focus, of course, was on these two Daewoos. And, you know, like I said, guys, never forget to exhaust your opportunities. He just happened to be walking into a gun store one day and talking to the dude, and somebody's like, hey, you know, we got something really cool you might like. And he went and looked at it, and these are those two really cool items. Otherwise, if it had hit the store shelves, you know, it's kind of, you know, luck of the draw. It's, you never, you know, it could easily, stuff like that can easily sell before you ever get to it. So you never know. Just always keep checking on places like that if you're in the market for something cool and unique. And he and I both have been seeing a lot of really cool and unique firearms come into gun shops recently. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's a sign of the times, but if you're fortunate enough and you've got the cash on hand, you know, it can turn into a very nice opportunity. But just wanted to share this with you guys today. Big shout out to my buddy for loaning me these two rifles. I may shoot them one day in another video. I'm not sure yet. I don't know how much he deems these as being safe queens, but just wanted to show you a couple of options out there if you can find them, and give you some ideas to think about in case you might be in the market for one of these, at least to give you a little bit of a comparison here. But as always, guys, big shout out to my subscribers. And as always, I want to thank you guys for all your likes, your shares, your comments. If you've not considered subscribing, please do so. And until next time, you guys have a great day.